Hi Scott, Gerard. It's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Matthew. It's been a busy time, I think, with COVID, but yeah, the school seems to be settling back down to some normality, which is nice.
Yeah. It has been 3 years since I was at Nexus. How has the school changed since then, and are there more learners and different stuff?
So I think the big thing in the 3 years, it doesn't feel like 3 years since you were here, but the big thing in those 3 years, obviously COVID has hit the school quite hard. We've got bigger, so we're looking at almost 276 pupils from this September. I think when you left it was probably around 212, 220, so quite a lot. We're looking to expand beyond that, so quite a few more students to come in the future. We've now got our hub, which is the building across from the car park.
Because that used to be like when now Oakley College, they used to like borrow that.
That's right, they were based over there, weren't they? Yeah.
And now called the Oaks now.
Yeah.
And does Nexus work with different partners and schools and like my college?
Yeah, so we're still part of KSEN, so Kent Special Education Needs Trust, and so we work with all the other special schools in Kent, which is really good. It helps us and gives us support, and we work very closely together with those schools. We've also got a lot of schools locally that we work with for integration, so some of our students, especially those that are in the hub, get the opportunity to go to the Judd School, to Tunbridge Wells Girls Grammar School, to Hillside School, to Tunbridge Boys School, and they do go there and do some lessons.
How can we get more diversity students and staff in specialist education?
Well, that's a really big question, I think, in terms of that diversity element. Student-wise, it's always going to be decided in terms of where the locality of the school is a little bit, in terms of that diversity of students and the needs of those students coming in. For us as a school at Nexus, we've been able to provide for a more diverse group because of the hub. That's one of the big things for us. So we were a school that was designated as for profound, severe and complex needs, PSCN. And within that group of students, you're looking at students with profound and multiple learning difficulties, autism and severe learning difficulties. They're our kind of main need type, but the hub has been able to open up a new need type, which is moderate learning difficulties. So it's for students who would find it difficult in a mainstream secondary provision, but they still need a social communication element of friends, basically. They need a group of friends around them that they can spend time with. So that's really good. In terms of staff, it's a massive one. I think every school would say, staffing at the moment is a real challenge to get people in. So we're looking at different options, and in terms of diversifying, I suppose we are looking at maybe providing some opportunities for staff who don't want full-time hours, full-time days. Might be able to get people that want to drop their children off to school in the morning and collect them at the end of the day, but still want to work in the middle. So that's what we're looking to do at the moment, to try and get some more staff in.
That's good. Like, it's interesting that you try and do that and stuff, and working like with partners as well, because it's quite interesting. And I want to see Nexus go further. Actually,
Yeah.
More when they go further, and we can bring in like commercial companies.
Yeah.
To like your school and stuff.
Yeah.
And working with different colleges, schools, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah. No, it's good, and I think I think you knew Brian. Remember Brian, that helps with development. So that's there's lots of people like that and volunteers that we get coming in. Brian was part of Tunbridge Rotary, has kept the allotment alive really, literally through COVID, and he was coming in all the time, even when the school was closed at points. So.
How can we the skills of young people with learning difficulties to support them in employment and or studies?
Yeah, big question that, isn't it? So there's a document that's come out recently in Kent, which is for post-16 students, and it's looking at careers and employment for all in post-16. What, unfortunately, I'd say, what that document doesn't consider in a great deal of depth is students with special educational needs. It falls short a little bit on that. It's very much focused on mainstream students and mainstream opportunities, but it doesn't really think about students that might be at Nexus and other special schools. So I think for us it is about getting out there, getting into the local environment and local shops and developing those links and talking to people directly about what they might have available for us. But also I think one of the big key things that's always been there is horticulture. It's always been something in terms of work experience and careers that has been there for post-16, and there's lots of colleges and settings that even you went to when you were at Nexus that provide that, and it's great for some of our students, but there are many other areas of work that we could get into. And we've recently, Poppy, so one of our students has been able to do some work experience at Pembury Hospital. We've got another student who's been working at Tunbridge Leisure Centre. So all of a sudden we've got some new things that have opened up.
Yeah, I think because with like work experience and your employment, well, because with work experience, because you see that like that's what the student wants to do, and also when they leave Nexus, they need to think about what they're going to do next, and they need to have a look what employment what they want to get.
Yeah, that's it. And what we have now as well. We've got a transition document which is for all year 7s all the way through to when they finish school. And the idea of that is for students to be able to start identifying the things they might want to do when they finish, and then we can start thinking, okay, so one of the students says, I want to be a fisherman when I'm older, that's what I want to do, that's what I want to be as a career. So then we can start thinking about what skills and what opportunities we present to them so they get that chance to go out and do some of that.
What is the next step for Nexus, and would you think about again a college one day?
Oh, big questions again. So next step for Nexus is certainly looking for expansion of the hub and providing for the students there, because it's a year 7 group in there at the moment. In September there'll be a new year 7 group, so we'll have a year 7, year 8 group. We need to think to next September, well, we're going to need something for a year 9 group, and beyond that all the way up to year 11. So we're working with the local authority to try and put something together for that group so they can move through. So that's absolutely key. And in terms of college, in terms of a post-19 college and something similar to the Oaks, it's something we would look at. I think our core aim at the moment and core business is getting the school for our next Ofsted, our next main Ofsted, or big Ofsted, and then looking at what we might do after that once we've got a bit more time and space to do that.
Yeah, because it's important, and you go see like more like from student from Nexus, and they might transfer over to like the Oaks Business College and other colleges as well.
Yeah.
What do the learners do after Nexus? How can we help them get ready for after Nexus?
Yeah, it's important. I mean, we've got some of our best and brightest students end up at the Oaks, obviously, so that's where they've gone on to. But we've got students that go off to Canterbury College as well. Some have gone on to St Piers and other settings. So there's lots of different settings that they go off to. Some of our students end up at home. They end up back home with their parents and don't necessarily go to college at that stage. What we have now is we've got the ability to look at our students even from reception. So when they're really teeny tiny, you were that small once, Matthew, definitely, and we can see potentially where they're going to go all the way through school and out the other end at the end of post-16 at year 13 or year 14, and have a good idea even from when they're that little potentially where they're going to go on to. So being able to see that's almost like being able to see the future. We can think, right, so that group of students, these are the things that are on offer for them in 12 years time or 14 years time or something like that, and we can look at it and therefore start thinking about, right, what skills are they going to use to be able to access the college that they want to go to or the provision they want to go to, because we know some of the college provisions will only accept students who are able to travel independently. That's one of the key things they might ask for or look for. So that might be something we need to do with our students in terms of independent travel training, so they're able to get from home and to college and back safely.
And last question, well, what do you think about Dean Harvey, the MP for his own constituency, and the Education Secretary? Well, what he like, what he want, what the Education Secretary, what you want to do, maybe coming to visit your school and do?
Yeah, I think so. It's a big job, isn't it? So and there's lots of schools to visit, but I think there's a lot of challenges in schools at the moment, and I don't think they're just schools. They're things across the country and all sorts of businesses and setups, and lots of things always come back to money, as they always do. I think school budgets, especially special school budgets, have been very restricted for a long time, so that we haven't had any kind of big increase in terms of what we can. What money we have, which means there's not as many things we can do for the students. We're limited on what we can do, and that's very sad, really, because things have, I suppose, for want of a better term, paused a little bit. But then you've got to think the country spent a lot of money on COVID. There was a lot of money that had to be spent to make sure we all got through COVID as safely as possible. So there isn't lots of money just sitting there waiting to be used. So I think it's again, for want of a better term, it's a tough gig, basically. Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you for letting me come to Nexus and interview, and I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely. It's been lovely to see you.
Thank you.